Hey, the ML55 is in the garage with a new buddy. Alright guys, if you watched not too long ago, I released the beginning of a series on trying to get the ML55 back to its former glory. So, welcome back to Channel Anderson and welcome to the second part of that journey. We got a long list of things to do, but we're going to start with some hopefully easy jobs today in the inner and outer tie rods. I did order control arms. I'll show you guys what I got, everything all together. Probably gonna do an oil change and take a look at some oil leaks that are going on to see how quickly we can correct those leaks. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. I'll show you guys what I got and then we'll get started. Alright guys, first off our washing machine is going off, so I'm sorry, but I wanted to show you guys. So I got inner and outer tie rods. These are from Vico. This is, I believe, a German company. Most of the parts are made in Turkey nowadays. I looked at these all look pretty good. I'll show you guys once I get them out of the box. And then the second part I was going to show you guys is these Delphi control arms, and these are ones that I'm not sure if I'm actually going to use these. Kind of took a risk. Delphi does make some good stuff, but I knew it was a bit of a risk ordering these and what type of quality it was going to get here. Overall, they're pretty good. Like the whole assembly of them is totally fine. The bushings and everything look good, but I'll show you guys. Alright guys, so like I was saying here, overall assemblies good. These are also actually I can't remember, I don't know if these say made in, okay, yeah, these are also made in Turkey. But what I was saying, assembly great, arms look great, bushings feel great. However, one of them is nice and stiff for the ball joint, and one of them is a little loose. Not like crazy, but it's way looser than the other one. Oh, if you can see here, I'm like, can't even move this unless I put two hands on it. So I guess that had me a little concerned. The tie rods are a separate job anyways, so I'm going to do the tie rods first, see how it makes the car feel. The control arms on that 155 are not like fully worn out by any means, but I had my buddies take a look at all the suspension a couple weeks ago at Eastside Auto, and they did, tell me that control arms were a little bit worn. Nothing crazy, but yeah, I guess we'll just make a decision. But you guys let me know, is that normal? To have one, I mean, this one, let me try to move it with two hands. Yeah, so moving it with two hands, I can move it no problem. It's just hard doing the one hand like there, but I mean, this one compared to this one, this is probably 2 to 3 times more stiff, I guess, in the ball socket versus this one. So I don't know, what do you guys think? That seems a bit odd to me for a brand new part. Are these worth running, or should I just return them and get something else? Lemforder, another option. These are a great deal, so I figured it was worth the risk. I think these were for the pair maybe like 100 or 120. Actually, I have the receipt right here. Okay, never mind, no prices on here, but there's all the part numbers. We also got, as you can see, the Samsung brake lines. And those are right here. Also something I'm going to be doing soon. Not right now, but these are actually an OEM supplier for a lot of companies nowadays. And a lot of people were recommending these as a good go-to. So I'm going to try them out. They look pretty high quality. Nothing wrong with them. And this brand is pretty reputable. So yeah, that's what we got, guys. I'm only gonna be doing these right now. Like I said, let me know if you think I should run these, or you think I should return them and try something else, just based off of, like, is that normal to you guys, having one be super stiff out of the box and one of them have a little more play, brand new? I don't know. I haven't ordered control arms in a long time, so that seems a bit odd to me. And it's not a gigantic job, but it takes enough time that I don't want to go in and do it twice. So let me know what you guys think. The brake lines, I'll have no problem with those, but I will do those at a later date. Kind of going to do one thing at a time here today. Hoping to do the inner outer tie rods, and then, like I said, focus on a couple oil leaks. Alright guys, first thing I'm going to do is get this thing jacked up and ready, get the wheels off, and then for the oil change later, I mean I can do it when the car is still jacked up, but the most awesome thing about having an SUV in this case is you don't have to jack anything up to do oil changes, stuff like that. It's already ready to go. So, take it out. Let's do it. Alright guys, it's all jacked up, and I guess I'll take this opportunity to show you guys. I don't think I ever updated you with the exhaust situation, by the way. Jacking the car up, beautiful thing about the W163 is body on frames. You got nice frame rails to put your jack stands on. I'm doubling up just because this is a heavy rig and why not. And here's the exhaust setup that I've never shown you guys. So the resonator is cut out, or the big muffler that's normally right here. This is not a pretty exhaust by any means. It's just kind of what they had to use. But it does the job. So it's just, I think like 2 1/4 or 2.5 inch piping, and goes back into the single 3 inch right there and goes over the hump and back to the stock muffler. Anything special to show you guys under here? Not much, to be honest. I do want to look at that transmount at some point. I did a polyfill in that transmount a long time ago. Oh, and you know what else we should do? We should take a hammer and see if there's anything left in the cats, because pretty sure those left the chat a long time ago. I need to look at oil leaks. There is oil everywhere. It's not looking good down here, but let's get those tie rods out first. Alright you guys, the wheel is off. Preliminary looks here. First off, stud kit again, you guys know. M14, I think these are 75 mil, I can't remember, and then I run 20 mil spacer on all 4 corners here. I did the brakes on this thing not crazy long ago. Front pads are still got plenty of meat on them. Do have some Paquid pads I can put on later down the line, but these are working for now. Overall, I gotta get a good look in here. I know one of these nuts on the tie rod is seized, at least from when I had it aligned. They said one of them got locked. I think it was the driver's side, so I'm gonna mark obviously where my thread so I can get it somewhat close before I take it for an alignment. Yeah, try to get it pretty dialed in. But symptoms we're having right now, or why I'm specifically focusing on tie rods, is we're getting some wheel wobble at highway speeds like 70 miles per hour, and from them inspecting, my friend KJ over at Eastside Auto, them inspecting it, they said yeah, tie rods are shot for sure, which I already knew, but they looked over all the suspension for me when I was busy doing all this stuff with the cars, just to help me pinpoint some things and know what I need to work on. So yeah, tie rods are for sure shot, and most likely that has to do with most of our steering wheel play. And then of course, if control arms have a little bit of play, that would also not help that situation. But they said control arms are still pretty good. Just something I can keep an eye on changing at some point. So let's take a look at the other side and then we'll get going. Alright, another side for you guys. Much of the same. We'll see which one of these. It looks like this is the one they were struggling on, trying to get that nut loose. So the one thing I'm kicking myself on is I didn't get new boots, because if I got new boots, all I'd have to do is just take off the whole assembly as one. If I can't get these separated after I get them off, then I'm gonna have to cut right there to be able to reuse this boot, which just, yeah, goof on my part, but I don't want to wait to go get boots. This is my time. I got to do this job, so I got to get it done. But overall, hopefully things go smooth. But man, you guys, I got to figure out what's going on with this oil situation, because there's just oil and grime everywhere. We got to get this solved. Alright guys, it's a 22 millimeter nut. I'm going to start on the passenger side. I got a little more room over here, a little more light, so kind of familiarize myself, and then we'll go as we go, I guess. But there is my plan is get this cracked, and then we can we're gonna leave this on here, obviously, but get it all the way loose. And if you've done these before, you kind of know how it goes. You'll leave these kind of up above the threads, use a hammer, pop them down, hopefully they'll pop loose, and then we can focus on the inner side. And like I said, I'm gonna mark with like a paint pen where on my threads these nuts are locked, and then same thing kind of on the inners, just so I can have a reference point where I should what's it called, reset the new ones, so that I'm somewhat dialed in for the alignment. Obviously it's not gonna be perfect, but we can get it pretty close. I've gotten pretty close before. When I did the E420, I was only off by like 0.1 or 2, which I was proud of. So we'll try to get it dialed in. But that's that. Let me go get my paint real quick and let's mark it before I took everything apart. All right. All right, now I'm gonna need to clip off the inner Oetiker clamp on the boot. So let me try to do that real quick. Alright guys, and what's a Sunday working with cars without a tool store run? I thought the monkey wrench that I had right here was big enough to fit this. Guess it's not, so looks like I'm going to get another set of wrenches from Harbor Freight. Catch you guys in a sec. Alright guys, back from Harbor Freight, got the giant Thor wrench. Hopefully this is small enough to fit in here. I think it'll be okay, but yeah, I should have brought the tie rod end with me, because I was like, how big was it again? So I just went bigger than I knew it would be or would need. Also picked up various other things, some steel zip ties so we can have to reuse on the boots, etc. But I'm gonna try to get this boot off of here. Probably not gonna be able to show you guys, so check back in a sec. Alright guys, well, we got the clamp off. There's the old Oetiker clamp. I mean, if you do them perfectly, you could reuse them. I got the steel zip tie, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I got the boot down. Let me show you guys if I can. Get a light in here and show you guys at the same time. Pull this boot back, and there it is, the big nut for the inner tie rod. The boots still seem in decent shape. They're hard plastic a little bit. I mean, not as rubbery as they used to be, but I think they should be fine to reuse. I slid down that clamp just to give the boot a little more room to slide this way. So I'm gonna try to get my big wrench on there and see what we can do. Alright guys, here goes nothing. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep the light right there. Yep, alright, we got it. Okay. That one is loose. Okay. And now we can pop this off with a hammer. So let's do that. Go. A little bit of, what did I just break? Oh, my light. The little glass, the glass breaker broke off. I could probably screw back in there. Oh yeah, she's good. Alright, good as new. Okay. And then this has a looks like a 5mm or 6mm Allen head on the top. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll just spin off, but probably not. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, we got lucky. Okay, it's coming off. And now I should be able to just rotate this out of here. There we go. Got our inner and outer tie rod assembly. I'm gonna clean my hands up, throw some grease in there before I reboot everything, but let's go look at this elsewhere. Alright, you guys know me, wash and dry workbench, but here's our inner tie rods. Again, the guys are these are Vico. Here's the correct one that we're going to be replacing. Now, one tricky thing we marked based off of this size lock nut. This is what came with these. Don't know if they're the same thread pitch. Hopefully they should be. So maybe I could transfer on these locking nuts just so I can match up exactly to the paint, or I can just adjust and account for that. It all depends. If I think this one I can get off, but it all depends if the driver's side wants to come off, and if I can reuse that locking nut, then I can do it that way. So that's it. Let me go ahead, get this disassembled so I can get this boot off, and then we'll continue on. Alright guys, well, I tried all my Thor strength I had, and this thing was not budging, so it met the hacksaw. Probably gonna be doing that for the same on both sides, so kind of just gonna have to wing the alignment at this point. No, I should be able to measure like overall still and get it close enough. So that's it. I'm gonna get the boot off of this side and I'll pop in the new assembly. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling these on the threads. It's a good idea, guys, especially if you're in an area with corrosion, anti-seize for sure. And then I'm gonna grease up all the assembly inside of the boot, etc. So get that done. And yeah, for those that don't know, you just basically thread in this side. So that's what I'm going to be putting the anti-seize on, so that it can help later on if we need to make adjustments easier, slide it around. Hey guys, and for those that watch my channel, you guys know I hardly ever work in gloves, but to keep everything clean in there, I'm going to go ahead and do so. Let's do it. Don't need a lot, but just enough. Alright guys, switching to the wrench to help me get this thing in here. Yeah, it's just whatever coating they use getting caught on the threads a little bit. Alright guys, I'm just kind of lining them up, eyeballing them. Again, all of this is going to have to get aligned, so we don't need to make it absolutely perfect, but got it pretty dialed in right there, so I'm going to leave it as is and go throw this in the car. Alright guys, this is all assembled, ready to go back in. Obviously, don't tighten anything down until you got this side tightened down, and then you can adjust. Don't forget to put your nut and your little plier clamp onto the right spots before you start threading everything together. And I got the inside nice and greased up. I just kind of grease up the inside of the boot and then put a good layer on the inner tie rod itself. So yeah, let's go throw this back in. Alright guys, the new assembly is in. When torquing down, or not torquing down, but tightening down the inner tie rod, it really is not that tight, so just get it good and snug, you know, secure. And then I got my boot slipped on over. I still got to do my metal zip tie on the inside, and then I'm going to go ahead and line up this outer with the knuckle, get that situated. And when you're tightening down, you will have to use this time, looks like this one is probably a 6mm on these aftermarket ones, so it's going to change. Some of them might have Torx, some of them might have Allens, but In this case, it looks like a 6 mil, so I'll check that once I get it situated in here. Let me set you guys down. Okay, and these got a nylock on them, so like I said, let's go grab that 6 mil. Okay, 6 mil secured, let's double check. Yes, indeed. Okay, so just keep that tight. And I don't have a 22 mil wrench, so it's gonna take us a bit. Area here. So I'll double check the other side. See how far we gotta go. Yo.
I just told my mom like go come over like later like for dinner or something.
Okay.
So my mom said clothes good again.
Alright guys, looks like we're pretty close here. So go ahead and check. Make sure it's snug. I'll double check with the Allen again. Alright, that side should be good. Just gotta throw the steel zip tie on the inner boot and move it on to the other side. Alright guys, and I didn't forget, I also tightened down the tie rod, so now this is locked in place. Stainless steel zip ties, that was my first time using them. They're a pain, but I looked up a video of how to get them super tight. And basically, you take something like so that'll fit into the little grooves. These work with a ball bearing, so find something that will fit in the grooves and then something on the other end to pull it tight. So I used a vice grip and this, so made it do. Okay guys, this side is quite tight over here, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to film, but I'll catch up to you guys once everything is all set in place. Alright guys, working on this side, much of the same, but I just want to show you guys, I don't know if you saw me spinning in the other one, but look at that. That joint is absolutely toast, the inner tie rod. The outer is still pretty okay, but that inner one is like, look at this. I'm floppy handshaking somebody. Terrible. Alright, and one thing I forgot to do on the other side is grease up the inner rod on here. I should have. I didn't, but it's still got some grease on it. So I could go cut off that zip tie actually and take care of it. Maybe I should, but anyways, I will make sure I do it on this side. I'm gonna have to saw this one of course too and get everything transferred over. Come on. Alright guys, driver's side is all buttoned up. I'm going to go ahead and get the wheels back on, get the car on the ground, and we can start trying to tackle some of these oil leaks. Alright you guys, and now we are on to the oil leaks. If you can see there at the front of the motor. Oh, if it wants to focus. There we go, kind of. Well, take my word for it. It's bleeding oil from the oil filter housing. The pressure port doesn't really look like it's leaking, to be honest, so I'd like to do the filter housing first and then go for a while and see if the pressure port also needs to be done. The oil cooler, all of that will need to be done at the same time, so I'm just going to take them all off and get them all sorted. Guarantee that is probably the majority of what we're seeing leaking down below. It also seems like this, well, this is from the valve cover. So yeah, valve covers plus the oil filter housing. Guarantee that's majority of our oil leaks. The back right corner on the passenger side valve cover, I know for sure is leaking. And this is just a reminder to you guys, you got to be so careful when you're putting on valve covers. These are OEM L-ring gaskets that I put on probably not even 10,000 miles ago or so. And I'm pretty sure one of them got pinched and it's just leaking from a corner back there. This side, when I resealed the breather cover, I forgot to reseal, I believe, the where the oil cap is, and yeah, that just caused a mess. So this will all get resurrected. I don't have time to do it right now, but for you guys it'll be like 5 seconds, so I will catch you guys later once we get started with this. Alright guys, we're back in service position, and let's go ahead. I'm going to pull this off, get our oil filter out of here, and show you guys what I'm using to pull that filter housing. Alright you guys, and there's our nasty little engine bay now. I'm bummed when I did the intake manifold. I did this one first and then I learned better on the C55. I wish that I painted this thing when it was off. I don't know. I just wasn't familiar with it yet. Didn't know that it turns back to that so quickly after scrubbing it down just because of the magnesium content in it. But I'm planning to do the fuel rails. I have the new performance rails. If you guys saw that earlier while I was doing the tie rods, they're sitting right here. So these are going to be going on soon. I got everything involved to do it, all the pieces, all the components. So those are going to be going on. I have what else? That's about it really. Yeah, just the rails. While I have them off, I'm going to paint this, just brush it, at least the top half. I'm going to pull the valve covers off, paint those either black or silver, and reseal up everything because I just didn't do a good job the last time I did this, guys. Yeah, I've just learned better ways at this point. So yeah, those are a familiar process. This is kind of a new one, so I am going to do my best and get this oil filter and cooler out of here as well. That was pretty cool, right? I didn't plan on doing that, but it came off by hand. So I have a giant socket that I borrowed from Mike, actually. This is a 1 13/16 socket, so I believe that's the correct size for that nut in there that holds down the whole filter housing assembly. And these are all a bunch of probably T30s, T40s maybe. Looks like T30s. So I think before I pull this off, I'm gonna pull these out, just so it's easy. And then easiest way will probably be maybe get the oil filter housing off, reinstall that gasket, and then put the new cooler gaskets on while that's kind of out of the way. So I'm going to separate this, then I'll pull that off. Alright guys, those bolts are out on the side, all T30s. A little bit of a tight fit on a few of them, but not too bad. Our socket fits perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and crack this loose. Alright, I think it was on there pretty tight, guys, so use an extension bar if you got one, but I got it cracked loose. Just got to spin it out of here now. Alright guys, this thing is free. Pretty much separate it now. Grab a towel. Alright. Get the seal held on at the bottom. Yeah, it did. Oh man. That thing is rock hard. Watch this. Yep. Just broke into pieces. So, safe to say, that thing wasn't doing anything anymore. Alright, let's get this cleaned up. Alright guys, I'm going to give this thing a good douse of brake clean. Alright you guys, and these little seals in here are always quite stuck, so gotta use like a pick tool of some kind, get them out of here. These ones are rock hard, so coming out in one piece it looks like. Hopefully, there we go. One seal out. Alright, there we go. Another one out, so clean up those surfaces and then this thing's all good. Okay guys, new seal is sat in there. Make sure you clean things up really well. I put a thin coating of dielectric grease on all of the seals. That'll go back in there. So I already got these ones installed. They sit in there pretty good, so they're not going to slip out or anything when you're trying to put it in. So go ahead and get this back in there. Alright guys, so it looks like WIS specifies 70 Newton meters, which is 50 foot-pounds. So that is what I will be doing. That sounds about accurate too, based off what I felt when I took it off. And sorry I didn't get that on video for you guys, but it was on there pretty tight. So alright guys, be careful of that. I did not have it threaded in correctly. I don't even think it was bottoming it out at all. So let's try that again, take two. So I did it by hand this time. It's a little tricky. You gotta basically like use two fingers to pry it little by little, but at least that way you can get a feel for it. And now I can tell, yeah, it's going. Alright, so that's tightening for sure. Let me go ahead. Okay, again, 50 foot-pounds. That is set. Alright. Sheesh, it's pretty tight for what it is, but there we go. Alright, and now you just got to replace your tiny Torx head bolts. It'll focus on there. There you go. So replace your tiny T30s here, and should be all good to go. Alright you guys, new filter and O-rings are on. The filter stick here, I'm just going to set this down in here and not button it up all the way because I'm going to go ahead and change the oil. So let me drain it and clean things up down below. I'm going to get everything cleaned up as well to try to just keep an eye on what's going to keep pouring oil. I know it's coming from over here. I know it's coming from the back, but might as well clean things up, start tracking it down a little bit. Alright guys, moving on to down below, oil change, and if this is any indication of how much of a war zone it is underneath the car right now, yeah, it's just not looking pretty. Can imagine the car been leaking from all four corners, basically from up top of the motor, and it has just absolutely leaked everywhere. It is not pretty down here. Actually looks better than it does in real life on camera right now, but yeah, literally everything is coated. So I gotta get cleaned on here. I'm not even gonna bother wiping this all off by hand. I'm just gonna need to hose this off properly. So I'm just gonna change oil for now, and I'll pull it out and spray it off. Alright, you guys, did spend a little bit of time down here cleaning up. Also brake cleaned quite a bit up top, just so it's easier to keep track of you know, what I just did with the oil filter housing. Oil definitely old and goopy, but not terrible, pretty typical. So get this drained out. It's cold right now. I should have warmed the engine first, would have made it a little easier, a little quicker, but that's alright. Let it do its thing and fill it back up. And if you guys know me, you know I'm kind of an oil hoarder. I got all kinds of stuff stashed over here. And for the ML55, I typically just use a 540. In this case, I got this, I don't know what it is, certified Spectra Extreme full synthetic 540, and then I'll be mixing it with a little bit of Mobil 1 540. This is the, you know, daily driver, do everything car, so it doesn't need a, you know, like a higher zinc spec or anything like that, anything special like I do with the C55, just because this one's getting driven a lot more normally. So usually any 540 synthetic, 1040 synthetic, 1540 synthetic, whatever I find for good deals is what I end up running in it. So that's what it's getting this time. And this one does actually have MB 229.3, which is older. The newer one is MB 229.5, but this is plenty fine for an M113. And then it has another Mercedes approval over there. Bunch of API and CJ 4 SK or SL SJ CK4, so bunch of good specs on here. The only better spec I guess you could look for is one that has like a Porsche A40, because those ones are pretty rigorous tests to get passed by Porsche. So any oil that's got those you know, test passes, that's pretty good. Like here's Mobiles, for example, so Porsche A40 and MB 229.3 and 229.5. But that said, guys, there's also plenty of good oils that don't have those approvals, so whatever, don't read too far into it. Just make sure you got a good full synthetic or semi-synthetic that is in the correct weight. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole because that's not the video for it, but I've talked to the ends of the earth about oil in some of my other videos, so if you guys are curious, go check them out. But yeah, I'm gonna let this thing drain out, fill it up, and we're gonna end it there. Alright guys, she's all filled back up, which means this can go back on, and this can get screwed down. Alright, okay. Put the engine cover back on for now. I'm going to start this thing up and take it for a little test drive just to see where the alignment is at right now. That way I know. I'm trying to get this done Sunday night. My wife uses this car for her daily driver with my son, so I want to make sure it's at least good for them to roam around town in tomorrow, nothing crazy. And then I can get it aligned once I got time to bring it over to Eastside Auto. So, alright guys, let's go fire it up, take it out of the garage, and see how she feels. Alright guys, let's go ahead and fire this thing up, get it pulled out of the garage. Whee. And don't worry, that was already there, so that's because of my secondary air injection delete. Haven't been able to trick that in the ECU yet. Oh man, yeah, steering definitely feels, just even sitting here feels really good. Alright, let me get this thing pulled out. Alright guys, she feels good. The alignment definitely feels close. It's off a little bit though, I can tell, but close. So good enough to drive around town until I get it aligned, and then she'll be properly dialed in. Definitely feels a whole lot smoother though, which is cool. Probably the smoothest it's ever felt. just steering wise. So glad to have that job done. Pretty easy. If you guys never done tie rods before, and if your car needs them, it'll really make the car feel 1,000 times better. So do them if you can, or have somebody do them for you that isn't gonna throw you under the bus with the pricing, because it's not that hard of a job, and you'll be happy you did them. A little giddy up for the boys. Guys, if you've never experienced an ML55 or even a 163 for that matter, go drive one. They're so good. They're so damn good. Love this thing. Alright you guys, we'll catch this one soon on the next little rendition of getting it back into shape in its former glory. Got to figure out these nuke fuel rails. Got a few more oil leaks to solve with the valve covers and get it all painted and looking pretty like the rest of the fleet is getting to that level. So hope you guys enjoyed part 2. Tried to pack as much as I could in. Like I said, it's Sunday night. I got work tomorrow. My wife and son are going to be driving around, so I had to get it done for them this weekend, whatever I could get done. So that's all I had time for. Like I said, part 3 will be coming up. Valve covers, figuring out the nuke fuel rails, and probably have it aligned by then. And I don't know, I guess we got to look at a real list right now of what else it really needs. Oh, brake lines, we'll do those. So yeah, just stay tuned. Stay tuned for this thing. There's more coming up for sure. I've been diving into it a little bit, so that'll be coming up hopefully this week as well. Hope you guys have a good week, and hope your Monday is off to a good start already. So thank you for watching. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.